Hi, today we're on Route 66 in Missouri, the town of CUBA, right up here, water tower. How about that? So the best place to start your tour, you park here at Missouri Hick Barbecue. This is called Washington. And this is not the original Route 66, but it's the Route 66 we know today. And right here's a little dirt road. This is called Main Street. The original Main Street of CUBA was right here, and it ran along the railroad tracks to the railway station. So in 1926, this road became the original Route 66. This road here was still a dirt road and is aligned with the new Route 66 the following year in 1927, and is finally paved in 1931. And that became the most familiar thoroughfare for Route 66. There's some cool things here on this road on Washington we'll check out, but first of all we're going to head down here, down the original Main Street of CUBA. Now the old buildings here, they always faced toward the railroad tracks because they catered to the railway passengers, the hotels and the diners and the motels out here. And then when they realigned to the paved road on Washington, they had to switch their orientation around to cater to this side over here. Hey, check out this little channel here. 1925. So that's a little history of here, but on the other side of the tracks here, used to be called the Lazy Y Camp. Right over here, used to have several cabins and a Phillips 66 gas station. Look at this old building right there. That may be one of the original cabins of the Lazy Y. Here we have our CUBA water tower right there by the tracks. So this side here, this dirt road, Main Street. Here's what was the Red Horse Cabins right over here. They opened in 1938 as a mobile station, a little cafe and cabins here. Later it grew to a truck stop and burned down in 1953. Got some of these gabled roof cabins here. They still survive. Check that out. This old guy's here. Anyway, we're going to head across the street back to Missouri Hick. I'll show you this building here. This building here is the Missouri Hick Barbecue. So if you want to have a good tour of the town, just park here. Have lunch a little bit later on. Look at that pig on the rooftop there. Check that guy out. It used to be called the Annex Cafe, 913 East Washington. This guy originally opened in 1944. It's a Wagon Wheel Annex, named after this motel here on the left called the Wagon Wheel. In 1946, it's called the Paul's Cafe. And CUBA is the Mural City. They have a bunch of murals on a bunch of buildings we'll take a look at. This guy included a Phillips 66 station that closed in 1960 when Highway or Interstate 44 came through, bypassed the town. This new guy here, Missouri Hick Barbecue, that opened in 2002. It's got this great pig on the roof there. See that guy? Little pig. The Missouri Hick Barbecue. Over here, this is the Wagon Wheel Motel, Cafe, and Gas Station. Check this out. Listed in the National Register of Historic Places. This guy was built in 1934 using local sandstone from our little Ozarks here. Look at that. Then opened in 1936. Originally called the Wagon Wheel Cabins. These gabled roofs here, arched doorways, private tubs, even enclosed garages. So as traffic grew, the garages were converted into units. That's what we have today. Wow, this Wagon Wheel Motel. This is beautiful. A really cool Wagon Wheel Motel neon sign. This guy dates back to 1947. Just great. Anyway, so the head office now is a little shop, a little gift shop here. And the office for the hotel. Look at that beautiful sign. This is our Betty Davis mural. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But on McClay Street, Don't miss the Jesus King of the Road sign right there. Anyway, right here used to be an old gas station. Here, this vacant lot. It's called the Barnesdale Service Station and Cabins right here. But this here was the old Southern Hotel. And Betty Davis stayed here in 1948. Right here on this hotel. Incredible. Look at this guy. Let's take a look at the front here because see the hotel, it used to face the railway because that's where all the passengers got off the train. And up here on the left, right there, it's called Hotel Cuba. Yeah, built in 1915. Originally called the Palace Hotel. That guy's listed in the National Register of Historic Places. Of course, see how it faces this way out to the train tracks on the left. How about that? Then had to reorientate to the other side over here when Washington came through. So Betty Davis stayed here at the Southern Hotel in 1948. See that? And over here is a little mural of Betty Davis on our emergency management building at 501 Washington. It's the story of Betty Davis here. Her husband, William Sherry, right in there. And they drove through Cuba on a rainy evening on November 2nd, 1948 in their 48 Packard station wagon. They stopped at the Southern Hotel for a meal and a room. And a 19-year-old reporter, amateur guy named Vaughn, asked to take her photograph. That's Vaughn right there. And the husband was real mad because they wanted some privacy. So he adamantly refused, but when they stepped out of the hotel, he snapped her photo. And the husband chased Vaughn down the street and fell in the mud. And Vaughn got away and published a photograph right there inside the News and Review. So there's Betty Davis not looking very happy because she was stranded in Cuba on a rainy night in 1948. This guy here is the George B. Hamilton House, built in 1896. This is fantastic. Across the street from the Betty Davis mural, right here, check out this building. Used to be called Kimberly Brothers or the Ever Ready gas station. It's changed a lot, but see the columns in the front right here? That column and that column? Used to hold up a canopy. Underneath the canopy was a little service station. It's all filled in now, like a little apartment. Take a look at that cool sign there with the little neon arrow sticking out there. That used to be a gas station. This building here called the East Office used to be called the East End Drugstore, East End Square Drugstore. Dates back to 1930s. Sold DX gasoline. Today it's called the East Office Bar and Grill. Used to have a movie cinema in the back. See that building there? Right back there used to be a movie cinema. Not there anymore though. Here's called Shelley's Route 66 Cafe. Right there. It's a cute little diner. Take a closer look at that guy. So Shelley's Cafe here, it originally opened in the 1950s. It was called the CUBA Dairy Cream. Today it's really popular for just having a little diner out here in Cuba. Got lots of cool new buildings and lots of murals to look at. There's a little chef guy in front. Look at that guy. He's happy to serve you. All right, we have another mural right here. This is Al West. The Al West mural, called it. So Al here, he was the mayor of Cuba from 1946 to 1958. He's known as the father of modern Cuba. He's a big visionary, great aspirations for Cuba, modernize it, make it a next economically sound building that is Cuba today. So he's elected in 1946. There's only 2 paved roads in Cuba, right? So he's instrumental in raising capital to get electricity grid expanded out here, which led to great expansions in the city, like improving the sewer and the water systems, paving the streets, opening the parks, getting more manufacturing out here, even securing a contract for grapes for the Welch Company and their jam. That's Al West. How about that? This intersection's Franklin. It's called the Four-Way. Right here's an old Phillips cottage style gas station with a mural. We'll come back and look at that. Right now we're going to go to this old railroad crossing, 1934. Head up to the jail, which is on the right here. Here we have Main Street here. Right over here, the old Cuba jail, 1908. It's on the National Register of Historic Places. It's called a calaboose. Look at that. It's built in 1908, little one-story, rectangular shape, concrete block structure. It's got this little iron door right there. Consists of a little guard space where the guard sits. He's got a wood-burning stove in there. Check that out. And in the rear, there's a pair of iron bunks right back there. It was closed in 1954. Nice little museum. Look at that. You can't even get out of this. Look at that little iron bars. That's in the back here. Anyway, this thing's crazy. Wow. Better looking here in the jail. Well, we got 2 cell blocks back here, iron. Little guard here. Back in the front. There you go. Historic building of Cuba, Missouri. There you go. It's called a calaboose. How about that? Hey, it started to rain, which is normal. From Missouri, we got the Viva Cuba Garden, 1992. Mural City, we got some really cool stuff up here. Little replica of a train. Salem branch. The Salem and Little Rock Railroad. And across the street is our Phillips Cottage gas station we're going to look at. Along the way we have all these murals all over the place. Look at that. This all freelance. So this is our cottage style Phillips 66 gas station. Built in 1932 by Paul T. Carr, and we have our murals up here. We'll get to in a second here, but I want to show you this multi-colored gabled roof. Look at that. This is darling. So in the 50s and 60s, changed it to a mobile gas station. Let me show you this up here. See the P up there? It's for Phillips, always on the chimney here. These cottage style gas stations. So they built it like cottage style. So it kind of looks like it fits in with the little local environment or community instead of looking like a big old gas station on the corner. Let's look at these murals over here. I'll tell you about them. This is called number 12 here. The History at the Four-Way. This is Franklin Street, real busy. Anyway, Paul T. Carr. We got 3 little murals here. So panel 1 here, this is our vintage highway patrol car. He's got a trooper who's assisting our motorist. This honors the Missouri Highway Patrols celebrating their 75th birthday. It's our famous Wagon Wheel Motel neon sign. Panel 2, this is Mr. Wallace. his beloved 1966 Stingray Corvette. This is at the station in 1970. It changed over to a mobile with the little mobile Pegasus here, but we always still have the Phillips P right there on the chimney. Panel 3 is based on an old photograph of a campaign to attract the children of Cuba to this little store here. There's also a little snack shop at our little cottage style gas station. Anyway, that's kind of really cool. Missouri, US 66, number 12. Over here we have Amelia Earhart. So here we have Amelia Earhart in 1928, right there. And that's her Avro 1927 single engine biplane. This is really cool. So her plans were to leave Scott Field in Illinois to Los Angeles, the short stop in Kansas City. But for whatever reason, she had trouble, had to land her plane right outside Cuba. And so she continued her journey and soon became the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean in 1932. So just to honor Amelia Earhart here in the Muscogee Times Democrat, Amelia Earhart coming to the city. Look at that. Here we go. This is number 5 on our list of murals here. There she is. Fantastic. Here we have another gas station. This is an old Conoco service station. Today it's a Christian Science reading room. It's original cottage style Conoco gas station built in the 1930s, maybe the 40s. It's got a Tudor revival style, steep gabled roof, front facing gable, over the entrance door here. Check that out. Brick walls. All this detail work around the windows and the doors. We have a chimney up here. The narrow vents. See narrow vents? Narrow vents are Conoco. That was their kind of trademark. And over here we have a couple more murals. This one here is called the Frisco. Take a closer look here. Here's the back of our Conoco. You see that real slit narrow vent? Right there, that's our signature Conoco. How about that? And over here, this guy here is called the Gold Star Boys and the Blue Bonnet mural. It's a tribute here to the young men from Cuba who lost their lives in World War II. And the train is called the Blue Bonnet. It's a Frisco train named after the Texas state flower, Blue Bonnet. And this is train number 7. And it whisked away our Cuba boys. We have 6 young men here, left their homes to protect America's values and lives for democracy and liberty. And their names here are listed over here of all of our young fighting men. They gave their lives that we might live in freedom. World War II Gold Star Boys, right up here on the Blue Bonnet train, taking them out to war. Now we got more cool stuff up the road on our little rainy day. Hey, I'm Buchanan in Washington. This one here is called the People's Bank. Early in the 1900s, this building was occupied by an attorney. Today, this depicts Alva James Barnett, always known as AJ, up here. He's the first cashier of the bank. Then later, he became the president of the bank for 39 years, from 1920 to 1959. He's also the mayor of Cuba for 10 years. Here we got Mr. Barnett here. He's cranking his old Model T Ford. And this car was the first Model T to find its way into the town of Cuba. And inside the car is friends. We got Katie Hunter, Billy Jackson, AJ's children, James and Mildred. This was painted in 2001 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the People's Bank. Now our other mural here, next door to the People's Bank, it's called the Osage Meeting Mural. They're friendly Osage Native Americans here. They're meeting with our French settlers. Right here. In the back are little teepee-like structures here. They're called wiki-ups. Anyway, the brothers here, it's the Brothers Chateau. And they're great fur traders, businessmen, government officials, and super prominent St. Louis gentlemen. They're really lucrative success from trade with the Osage here, which included our beaver, deer, bears, other animals across our Ozarks. Here we go. Right here. And we got some more murals over here on the side, I think. This one here doesn't have a number. We got some more murals here. Let's take a look. All these murals here on the Lions Club building, right here, all depicts our Civil War stories. The battle between the Confederate General Sterling Price and the Union General Thomas Ewing. Right here is September 1864. So Price's troops that came up from Arkansas to capture St. Louis or Jefferson City was distracted by the armory and ammunition held at Fort Davidson, which resulted in this battle here, the Battle of Pilot Knob, Missouri. So Ewing, he ended up retreating and fleeing across the Hudson River with bullets flying over their head. So he went back and destroyed the main fort. Right here, destroying the fort. Along the retreat, look at that, bullets blazing over their heads. Anyway, so these are mostly skirmishes. They weren't really the biggest battles of the Civil War, but you know, friends out in Cuba and this whole territory, they kept their ground. Here's the battle at Huzza during the retreat here, going across the little river. We got the Confederates in Cuba doing their bad thing, destroying the town. And then of course at the end, this is September 29th. The end here is October 1st, and this is the rescue at Leesburg, right here. So anyway, kind of depicts a little bit of history here from September 1864 to October 1864. Just a short time out here by Cuba. Hey, this colorful CBD store here, right? It used to be called the Old Route 66 Cafe. Opened in the 1950s. In the 1980s, it was called the Chandler's Cafe, and then later it sold clothes, and today it's a CBD outlet next door to the Hayes Shoe Store. See that? Hayes Shoe Store. Got a great mural on this guy too. So this store, originally called the H.H. Timon's General Merchandise Store, opened in 1950. On display in here, we got Robert Pershing Wadlow's shoes. He's the tallest man in the world. Anyway, he's not here right now. But he's also known as the Alton Giant or the Giant Illinois. So the mural here is called Prosperity Corner. It's 1900, right? The side of the General Merchandise Store. And one day in 1910, Mr. Timon, the owner, he went to the bank, cashed a check for $10, headed out to Joplin, and he never returned. People thought it was foul play, but later just discovered he's living in Shreveport, Louisiana. He gave some sob story about his health and financial troubles, left his good wife in the hands out here in Cuba, $12,000. Anyway, it sounds kind of funny, but that's the story of our little shoe store here. Here's the back of Prosperity Corner, 1 Smith Street. Here, this building, 1886. This is the original site of the People's Bank. From 1906 to 1959 is virtually unchanged. So the People's Bank, they occupied the floor down here. But there's something really cool. So the children's school is on this side of the street over there. And to cross it, because it's so busy, over here was a hidden tunnel. I think it's right here. See where it kind of flattens out? So they go underground in a tunnel to get to the other side to go to school. The little public school annex across the street. So that's kind of cool. Hey, look at this. This is CUBA City Hall. 1934. In the CUBA Fire Department. Very cool. Here, this mural next door is called the Millworks mural. And the Millworks building here was built in 1948. It's a site of the old Roberts, Judson Sheet Metal and Millworks department store. It's a custom specialty shop of the Roberts Judson Lumber Company. And the mural here shows the scene, what it would look like inside the building. So this is Francis Nixon here. He's working on his woodworking. Kept him employed here for 54 years. For the most part, this is exactly what you'd be looking at inside the shop if you took this wall away. Mr. Nixon, he's wearing his trademark overalls. And he's got a really cool looking hat on top of him. And he's got some Wrigley's gum right here in his pocket. Right there. He always liked to chew Wrigley's gum. He's got a unguarded table saw too, so they weren't really OSHA worthy back then. But we got the Millworks here. And this is mural number 8. And this building, the old sheet metal and millwork department of Roberts Judson Lumber Company. Right next door to this beautiful City Hall building, 1934. So right here it's Washington, the Hayes Shoe Store. Across the street, this is a day at the cooperage. Right here, cars in the way. But the mural here depicts the McGinnis family. Up here, McGinnis Wood Products. They began making barrels here in CUBA in 1968 for quality wine and whiskey. Here they are, McGinnis brothers here. They're known internationally, made some of the finest crafted wood oak bourbon barrels in the world. This one here is number 13. How about that, McGinnis brothers? And over here on this side, this is apple orchards called the Apple Mural. And according to his journal, in 1867, L.D. Grover, he planted apples here in CUBA. Little apple orchard that he started. Look at this one over here in 1900. Soon had a thriving apple orchard and nursery. And the apple industry in CUBA was born. This coincided with the expansion of the Rock Island Railroad, which arrived in 1901, so this place became a super big exporter of apples and also vinegar through the barrels the McGinnis brothers made. So this here depicts the fall harvesting season where hundreds of people in the local community were hired to go pick the apples and send them to market. How about that? Here we go. A little apple orchard industry in our cooperage. And we got another mural up here. I think it's our last one. This is the Harry Truman at the Fair mural. Here's our final mural. It's Harry S. Truman and the Fair. So Harry was born in Missouri in 1884, grew up in Independence, worked as a Missouri farmer, fought in France, World War I. He married Virginia Wallace, and he ran a haberdashery in Kansas City. He got involved in Democratic politics, became a senator in 1934, vice president, later president, the final years of World War II. Here he is at the fair. This is 1940. He's campaigning for the Senate. Right here he's on his little soapbox there. He's preaching to two citizens as he's running for Senate. And that's only people that came to see him. They're having so much fun at the fair down here. Just gave up and he picked up his little soapbox and went down to the fair to have some fun. Because only two people were listening to him. So that's kind of what this guy's all about. Here's a little thing over here. Look at that. Vote Truman for U.S. Senator. So that's our little tour up here. We're going to go to one more location in Cuba. It's called the CUBA Drive-In Movie Theater. Just on the outskirts of town. So hang on with me while we get there. Our final stop, right outside of Cuba. Just on the outskirts of Franklin Avenue. It's our drive-in theater. Wow, this thing's amazing. Check this out. It's all abandoned now. But it's still here. Anyways, take a closer look. What we have. It's our little entrance here. How about that? I'm not sure what this said here. Drive-in, eat. Something like that. Anyway, here's a little concessionary area out here. Here we have our theater. Drive-in theater opened in 1955. We've got 300 little parking spots. Little speakers, right? You could drive up here or back up your wagon, lay in the back, pull down the little, speaker, stick it on your windshield, watch some cool movie, monster movie, right? From Creature from the Black Lagoon or something like that. Out here, it's amazing movie theater. Incredible. There's only a few of these left on Route 66. We're going to see if we hit them all. There you go. Anyway, that's our tour of CUBA, Missouri on Route 66. Hope you liked that tour. Anyway, it's a great place to visit. It's real noisy though on the main road. But it's still a nice place to visit. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.